Hey, welcome back. Hope everybody is having a great Sunday, and thank you so much for joining me talking all things Masters of the Universe. Today on the channel, guys, we're doing a relook or revisit or remembrance of a very iconic version of Whiplash from the Masters line, from the new Eternia line here. It's been a minute since we looked at old Whiplash here out of the packaging. Unfortunately, I do not have him loose in my collection here. One of those figures that I, with the help of a friend, was able to get this particular version of Whiplash for my collection out of state. And for some reason, and we'll talk about that a little bit, later in the video here, never showed up in my local Target area. I believe this was a Target exclusive. I can't remember when he came. I think he came out in 2022, maybe late, maybe early 2023. But, we'll still look at the figure of the packaging. All this items comes with. Of course, I brought out my Origins variant of Whiplash here. And I do have a 80s variant as well of this iconic villain right here. Also, we'll compare this version of Whiplash to his 2000X version and his classic version. All right, and have a lot of fun. Of course, as we're waiting for new figures to show up to the channel, to the collection, like the cartoon collection version of Faker, Catra, and so forth. We have the Wave 6 of the Trolls of Grayskull line coming very soon, and new Eternia versions of King Randar, Roboto, and who's the third figure? Oh my god, I'm blanking here, everybody. I apologize. Roboto. Oh my god. Let me know. I know it's King Randar, Roboto, and there's another. Oh, Beastman, of course. Beastman, of course. All right, but today we're just going to have some fun just revisiting this iconic version of Whiplash here. I believe this is a Target exclusive. And speaking of Target, I do have some hope. Somewhat hope about maybe getting it. Maybe. Well, we'll talk about here in a second here. All right. Of course, you have the old school packaging. You have the 30 points of articulation. You have the MasterVerse logo here. I would consider this packaging here the mini deluxe packaging. Bigger than your standard version of the MasterVerse line, but smaller than the overall deluxe figures like we've gotten from the MasterVerse line. You got of course, the very cool design right there. Here's a Whiplash here with some iconic armor here. Very cool armor. Comes with extra fist right there. His iconic spear. Comes with a big battle axe. Looks like a torch with a flame right there. Of course, his weapon of choice is his giant tail right there. I love the detail. I love the detail of this version of Whiplash. All right, and then I guess I should also call this my I need to get a loose figure of of Whiplash. But I will talk about that here in a minute. Here, of course, you have the Masters of the Universe New Eternia Whiplash. You got the Mattel logo here, looking really good. Of course, the helmet can be removed. The armor can be removed as well to give you a more standard version of the classic villain. Great face sculpt. I love that face sculpt. All right. Back around. And there he is, his iconic look right there. A Whiplash right there on the side right there. Looking good. All right. And there you go. Nice. I love that. Beautiful artwork right there. You got Whiplash, the tail, thrashing warrior. That little bio right there. I'll pause that if you guys to read that. Of course. New Eternia. And the cross cell of the other figures in a particular wave. If I had to guess, everybody, and I do apologize, if I had to guess this, I believe this is maybe Wave 8, maybe? Wave 7, I think? Right, of course, at the side, you have Whiplash right there in the name. Okay, the tail thrashing warrior. All right. A big, giant, heavy figure. Beautifully done. Okay, the detail is amazing. Get a little closer head sculpt. The helmet came removed, like I said. I love the scales. It looks beautiful. Amazing version of Whiplash. I'm kind of curious if you were able to pick him up in your collection for Masters figures. For me, like I said, I believe this was a Target exclusive, and of one of those figures like Slushhead and even like Sunman, from MasterVerse, that never came to my local area in my local Target for some reason. I don't know if it just got passed by or if they were just very limited on their of making this, those figures like Whiplash here. But what gives me a little bit of hope, somewhat, hopefully, maybe, I don't know if it's because of recent events that's happening somewhat from the Origins line state, that we're getting Dragon Blaster Skeletor and Snakeface back in Target stores. Now maybe that's because they found a warehouse full of those figures, and they're just putting them out to get rid of them and get them out of their warehouse. But it hopefully gives me somewhat hope that, you know, like those figures, maybe I'm just hoping, I'll hope that, figures like Whiplash here, like Sunman or Slushhead or anybody, from Target or even Walmart, or maybe, be re-released. And not as fan favorite figures, it's just figures that never showed up our local area at your, like mine or like yours. I'm sure there's figures out there, in your collection that, never showed up at your local, retail store if you have one, and it's hard to track down now. So I do hope, as how popular this brand is from MasterVerse or Origins, that hopefully Mattel will, if you want to do the fan favorite, I'm kind of curious if they'll even do a fan favorite line for the MasterVerse line, like a collector's edition versions or something like that, that, they will bring back some of these figures that some of us, like myself, missed out on, at retail. But thankfully, I will say, I did get this version, from, a good friend of mine, one out of state, and he found one for me, and I'll at least have him in my collection. At least have him. So that's why I'm not going to unbox him. And one of those figures where, like I said before, and I've said it many times with these figures like Slushhead, Whiplash here, I have to get on the ball here. And I keep saying that, and I do apologize. I guess I look to the head, to the future of this amazing line here of MasterVerse and Origins, and not really look back. For figures I still need in the loose part of my collection here, but because also at least I have one, in my collection, so I do have at least one of those. And so I'm pretty sure a lot of you might be like, just unbox this version here. I can do that, but, to track one down at a decent price and a good, and good shape and stuff like that, from eBay or third-party websites, because, I don't believe, like, I can probably try Amazon maybe, but I don't think places like Big Bad Toy Store or, like, Entertainment Earth, because this was a Target exclusive. So I got to be very picky. I'm very picky about my packaging and stuff like that in my in-box collection, to keep the value up. So yes, I can definitely, right now unbox this amazing version of Whiplash with you guys. But I have to make sure that I get a second version of Whiplash, in packaging that's, in good condition, in good shape. Because you never know. I might unbox this, and I get my second one in the mail, and, it might be the seller. It might be the, I'm sorry, I gotta say it, sometimes the Postal Service doesn't do a very good job in their packaging, it could become damaged, and, it could be ruined. And so now I have two ruined versions of any figure, not just Whiplash, but I got to be very cautious, like any collector would. But of course, if I do find a loose variant of this amazing version of Whiplash, I definitely will unbox it with you guys at some point. I just hope you will join me for that. But with this right here, an amazing version. Of course, let me get his classic 80s variant right here, and his Origins variant right here. All right there. So you can see the kind of little somewhat history of Whiplash I have in my collection here. Amazing. I love the torch and the flames. I love the battle axe, the armor. You can even, you also, if you have multiples of these, could be a good army builder, for you, because you could have like your standard version of Whiplash, in your MasterVerse line, and you can have him as, like, as the ruler or king of his people, and having these guys as, like bodyguards or something like that in your collection. I love it. The detail is amazing right there. Now let's take a look at real fast at his 2000X version right here. So there's old Whiplash right that came out in 2020. A much different take, somewhat, of Whiplash. It's Whiplash, but he's got a more like wider frame. Once again, I want to thank Pixel Dan and Dark Horse Comics for this version right here of this amazing book here. There he is. There's a Whiplash. And this very unique weapon of choice here. And there he is. There's a Whiplash right there. Like I said, a big, gone now is now he's wearing no boots right there. And of course, he's got that very cool tail right there. All right, there he is, front to back, side to side. And a little fun factoid about the old 2000X version. Oh, I will pause that right there to read. All right. Well, you know what gets me also, it's not Whiplash, it's the figure next to him. And I'm kind of curious if, because we have gotten so many versions of He-Man from Origins and MasterVerse. Next to Whiplash here, in this book here, we have Wolf Armored He-Man here. Look at this. Of course, he was packaged with the Snake Armored Skeletor variant right there. You have Wolf Armored He-Man. I'm kind of... Now, as we know, in the MasterVerse line, no 2000X figures yet has come out yet in MasterVerse. And somewhat in Origins. In Origins, they've done somewhat of a better job. Somewhat. But I'm just looking at this version of He-Man here. Wolf Armored He-Man. I gotta say, I mean... I feel like at some point, if this line continues, if MasterVerse will, eventually give us 2000X figures in the line here, and so many, and we have gotten so many different variants of He-Man and Skeletor, with MasterVerse and in Origins, that I feel like at some point we'll get a Wolf Armored He-Man here. I'm like, what is this? And and the funny thing about 2000X is that there has been so many versions, and I'm going to give you a little sneak peek here. You got King Hiss, Man at Arms. You got Battled Chariot here. You have Battle Sound He-Man. What? Actually, I can battle with the Diamond of Disappearance right there. So with 2000X, I mean, you had a lot of you got Beastman here. You have the Battle Tank here. I mean, look at this. Thanks again. Once again, I want to thank Pixel Dan for this amazing book here. And I'm not being sponsored by him or Dark Horse Comics at all. I mean, look at the different variants. Look at Grayskull here. Their version of Grayskull. Crazy. Got that version. There's that Snake Armored He-Man from the somewhat of the Diabolical Snake Invasion version right there. That's cool. You have Eagle Flight Pack He-Man. I mean, look at the Samurai He-Man. I mean, you can do so many amazing figures of this line. You can just blow it up in Origins and Masters with all these different variants of He-Man, Skeletor, or any figure for that matter. So it's crazy that that we have not gotten anything in the 2000X line in Masterverse. So I'm kind of curious if they're kind of waiting for the anniversary maybe of something very special to come out with He-Man in that line. I don't know. I'm kind of curious. I know I'm going way off because I just love talking with you guys about Master Universe, about Whiplash and stuff like that. Because it brought me. Oh, I forgot to show you guys. Sorry. My bad. Let me show you the classic version of Whiplash. Let's get back to topic here. I'm sorry. I kind of went off key there, and I kind of randomly do that. And I guess I just love talking with you guys. Here's Whiplash in this classic line right here. And this version right here came out in 2010. There he is, giving you more of that standard version of Whiplash here. It also came with that same type of 2000X spear here. Shock spear. And also, it really included, really cool, they included the 2000X version of Whiplash to change out. Another fun factoid there. But very cool. All right. But let me know in the comments below, guys. Were you able to find and pick up Whiplash in your collection from Target? I hopefully, like I said, maybe, I don't know, with the re-release somewhat of Dragon Blaster Skeletor or I know it's two different brands, but getting Dragon Blaster Skeletor and Snakeface from Target, I'm hoping maybe we'll, if Mattel will, re-release these figures, back in the wild with us from retail stores to give us collectors, a second go-around for figures that we missed out. And I wish there was a poll or something like that we can vote on of figures that we desperately need. Whiplash for me would be a top on that list for figures that I desperately would love to get from MasterVerse and anything else, Slushhead, Sunman, anything. So is there a figure out there, here's a question if you wish to answer. Is there a figure out there in your collection that you missed out on that you would love to get a re-release for your collection from retail? Or even like, Mattel Creations, those exclusive, rare figures like Grizzlor or Koldar or Wundar or Heath Skeletor figures for, or any figure from the MasterVerse. But I believe MasterVerse, unfortunately, I think, and, for the most part, you can find most of the figures still on their website to add to your collection. But for Origins, it's what's more different. And I'm kind of curious also, and we will get eventually, I'm sure we will, a cartoon collection version of Whiplash. Do we have one already? Oh my God. What kind of collector am I? No, we don't have no, we don't. Man, that's scary. We got Clawful, yes, but not Whiplash. And yes. And he was part of that show. Yes, he came near, he was near the end of that show, of the show's run from Filmation. Getting a Filmation variant of Whiplash. I feel like now we should be getting that one hopefully soon. Hopefully sooner the better. But let me know. But with this version of Whiplash, an amazing figure here, an iconic version. Once again, new Eternia, amazing, the top notch, the best line in MasterVerse, in my opinion. This is the top brand right here for MasterVerse. And I will say this, if new Eternia was not a thing for MasterVerse, I feel like this line would have been done a long time ago. I mean, this would kept it going, in my opinion. If they did not come up with this new Eternia concept for MasterVerse, and I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it until something else comes along and kind of bumped it off the line here. If there was no new Eternia, line in the MasterVerse line, then this line would have been done a long time ago. It's like, what? It would have ended at the same time roughly as the CGI line, from He-Man, from Netflix. But I could be wrong. And we got, of course, the Revolution figures that have kind of gone dormant now. They're gone now. And so for the most part, it's the new Eternia figures now. They're hitting the mark as for us collectors, giving us different looks and armor and weaponry of these iconic figures that we all grew up and love. And that's one thing I love about this line, is a fresh take of these figures from New Eternia. The movie versions have, I think Beastman was our last version that we've gotten out. Now, of course, I would love to get a movie version of Man-at-Arms, Tila, from any like Blade. So maybe God tier Skeletor. Of him as well at some point as well, but of course, and let me know. I mean, do you agree or disagree? Do you think new Eternia is absolutely nailing it for MasterVerse? And do you think if there was no MasterVerse new Eternia line, do you think this MasterVerse line would have continued for what it is? So, but back to good old Whiplash here, good old evil Whiplash here, an amazing figure. I do hope you were able to find him and track him down in your collection. I hope that at some point I can find a second one to unbox with you guys in the collection. All right. But there you go, guys. A little recap or revisit of this iconic villain here from the new Eternia line. Amazing. Beautiful. Like, once again, a beautiful box art right here. I love the big window box of the old packaging. Shows all the weapons, the detail of the figure right here. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. All right. All right, guys, I'd like to take the time now, of course, to thank my subscribers. Thank you so much for coming back and revisiting these amazing figures with me, guys. I know, like I said, as we wait for new figures to show up on the channel here, from the cartoon collection, the Turtles of Grayskull, the Masters line, for anything for that matter, come our way to relook and revisit as we wait. All right. Of course, don't forget to hit the notification bell when upload new videos. And of course, what I've been doing this revisit or remembrance in the Masters line. I think I'm going to do some of the figures in the Origins line as well. And that's with another Target exclusive 2-pack that it's been a minute we've seen. And one of the figures, I guess, this 2-pack was, I think, the start of the Target exclusive line. As you know, the Origins line was a Walmart exclusive. to Target took over and helped out. And so I might do a revisit of the Rise of Evil 2-pack line, the Target exclusive. So I do hope you, and I'm sorry for rambling on, everybody. I will cut you guys loose now. It's Sunday, all right? So I hope everybody has a great Sunday, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Take care, and have a good one, everybody.